In the vast, silent spaces of our world, a journey begins that has no starting point and no true end. It starts with a single, flawless geometric design. A frozen crystal, shaped by nothing but the cold wind, drifting silently downward to rest upon a fortress of ancient ice. Look closely, and you see the architecture of time itself. These mountains, the great towering pillars of our planet, hold the memories of a billion winters. But static perfection is not the law of this universe. Everything moves, everything changes. As the first morning light strikes the peak, warmth pierces the frozen heart of the glacier. A quiet awakening begins. Deep within the translucent ice, fractures catch the sun like buried diamonds, and the solid world begins to soften. Frost turns to moisture. On the tip of a single pine needle, a perfect sphere of liquid forms. It hangs for a moment, balancing on the edge of existence, reflecting the entire sky within its tiny frame. And then, it falls. It joins the rush. What began as a silent crystal is now kinetic energy, plunging headfirst into a bubbling mountain stream. It races over dark, ancient riverstones, driven by gravity, growing louder and more turbulent with every passing meter. The stream becomes a river, and the river becomes a force. It throws itself over the edge of a massive cliff, 100 tons of white thunder crashing into the mist below. In the chaos of the fall, light bends. A perfect rainbow forms in the spray, a fleeting monument of color suspended above the dark abyss. Below the surface, life moves in harmony with the current, swimming effortlessly through shifting patterns of light and shadow. But the chaos cannot last forever. The rushing water slows, widening out into a mirror-smooth river that winds peacefully through a quiet valley, reflecting the eternal sky. For millennia, this flow has shaped the destiny of humanity. We built our worlds where the water moved. We crossed it with stone arches, mirroring our own structures in its dark depth. We captured its weight with heavy wooden wheels, turning to grind the grain of ancient empires. We mixed it with the earth, wet clay spinning between the hands of artisans, shaping vessels to hold the very element that formed them. We dipped our brushes into its fluid grace, letting ink bleed into parchment to record our fleeting thoughts. We boiled it in quiet ceremonies, watching the soft white steam rise and vanish into the air. As time marched on, the currents were channeled into structures of steel and concrete. We contained the flow in polished pipes, tracing the veins of modern civilization. We examined it under blue laboratory lights, measuring its purity, unlocking the molecular secrets of life. We transformed its movement into invisible data, pulses of light carrying human knowledge through vast digital networks. We harnessed its immense power behind brutalist dams, releasing pressurized torrents to generate electricity for the cities below. And at night, that same water fell as neon-lit rain, washing over the dark asphalt of towering skyscrapers, reflecting our artificial stars. But the earth always reclaims its own. Driven by the wind, the moisture drifts away from the concrete jungles, returning to the wild. It falls heavily upon the giant leaves of the rainforest, a rhythmic percussion of life that coats the skin of forest creatures and hangs as morning dew on delicate spiderwebs. It sinks deep into the dark, rich soil, pulled silently into the porous roots of ancient trees, feeding the great green canopy that breathes for the planet. Eventually, all paths lead back to the cradle. The forest streams empty into the vast, deep blue ocean, where fresh water collides with the salt of the sea in beautiful swirling patterns of turquoise and tan. Here, the scale becomes cosmic. Massive waves curl and break in slow motion, while giant leviathans breach the surface against a heavy sky. At night, the shoreline glows with the magical blue fire of living light, while deep below, in the pitch-black abyss, ethereal creatures drift like ghosts in the dark. Now, the sun beats down on the ocean, and the grand ascent begins. Rising as invisible vapor, the water leaves the earth, sculpting massive, towering clouds in the deep blue sky. Inside the dark purple bellies of the storm, internal lightning flashes illuminating the swirling vapor with raw electricity. Higher and higher the camera rises, passing through the thin blue veil of our atmosphere, until the sky turns to darkness. From orbit, we see the true nature of our world. A blue marble, glowing in the void, wrapped in a protective blanket of clouds. But water is not unique to Earth. It travels the cosmos. It floats as billions of sparkling ice crystals in the majestic rings of Saturn. It hurtles through the stars and the frozen cores of comets, leaving trails of glowing gas behind. It drifts in distant interstellar nebulae, vibrant clouds of magenta and aquamarine stardust spanning light years across. And there, in the cold cradle of deep space, the cosmic vapor begins to cool. The colors fade, the gas crystallizes, and from the pure, blinding white of creation, a single snowflake begins to form, ready to fall once more. The loop is complete. The journey begins again.